Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever this finds you in the world. We are excited to have you join us and meet some of our Skidmore College alumni to talk about their experiences at Skidmore, postgraduate life after Skidmore College. My name is Darren Drabeck. I'm Associate Director of Admissions and Coordinator of International Student Recruitment here at Skidmore College. And greetings from Saratoga Springs, New York. And thank you again for joining us. And this program is recorded, and we are excited to present it to you for you to watch at any time that is important to you. I'm going to start by letting our panelists introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about yourself in reference to what you studied at Skidmore, where you came to Skidmore from, and just what you're doing now. And we'll let you kind of hand it off to the next person. But I'll start with Sten and let you introduce yourself if you can. Go ahead, Sten.
Hey everyone, and I hope you can hear me well. I am currently in the midst of a highway in Poland, but I am from Estonia. I graduated Skidmore 2023. I am working now as a DevSecOps engineer, studying my master's in cybersecurity and moving towards infrastructure security engineer kind of role. And in Skidmore, I finished computer science and sociology.
And I'll let Suyi, why don't you go next? You're on my screen next, and then you can choose who you get to hand it off to.
Hi everyone, my name is Su Yi. I'm from Taiwan. I grew up in Shanghai, China. Graduated from Shanghai High School International Divisions. Let me know if you found the same place. At Skidmore, I studied biology, and after I graduated, I worked at Brandeis University as a lab manager for a year, and then did my master in public health epidemiology at Yale University. I'm now working as a postgraduate researcher, a research associate at Yale. I'm working on mosquito-borne infectious disease transmission and epidemiology. Yeah, nice to meet everyone.
Yoser, go ahead next.
All right, hey everybody. My name is Yoser. I'm from Bhutan, class of 2022 from Skidmore, and I major in economics. I went to high school in India, UWC Mahindra. So if any folks from UWC have any questions for me, shoot them directly. Upon graduation, I started my career at Barclays in New York City, and I'm currently an associate within the investment banking division at Barclays.
And Frini, finish it up here. Here we go.
Thank you so much, Darren. First of all, hello everyone, and congratulations to those who have already received their acceptance. Great choice, and hopefully the rest of you that you're waiting for a reply, you get a positive one. Skidmore is a great choice, so go for it. My name is Frini, class 2017. I'm from Greece, Thessaloniki, and it's been a while since I graduated, so I had to think about everything. I did a mix of things. I did classics with international affairs, and then I did a minor in political science. And for the past 6 years, I've been working in the health policy space. I went through a bunch of different roles and organizations, including the UN, the Ministry of Economics, which is called HM Treasury in the UK, and Chatham House, and now I'm with the Health Foundation, doing exactly the same thing in all of them from different perspectives. But if you have any specific questions for me, please feel free to shoot them. Back to you, Darren.
All right, thank you. And just to, maybe a first question, we talk a little bit about one of Skidmore's opportunities for students with our small classes, average class size of only 16 students, the student to faculty ratio of only 8-to-1, and talk about that relationship with faculty and students and the opportunities that students have to engage with faculty. I would love, maybe even just show of hands, who had a chance to do some collaborative research while you were here at Skidmore with faculty at Skidmore. That's got, there you go. Big hand wave. Yep. Some research. I want to, or an internship. We got internships that you had during your time here, of course. Yeah, they're good. But let's talk a little bit about that faculty relationship, and Stan, I might capitalize on you a little bit about some of your the guy, start there, and then Suyi, let's talk about your experience too. But Stan, you did some internships, some research? What were some of those experiences like at Skidmore with faculty?
I worked very closely with one of the computer science professors. I did independent study with him like 3 semesters in a row, and he was also my internship like supervisor as well. So like we had a lot of work together with building our own networks, and he was very like good support of trying getting me into the industry and helping with my resume, helping with all of those little nitty gritty details that he has done over like 30 years. So he was the best resource ever.
And that was in computer science. Did you do any other work in other majors or other departments as in addition to your major?
Well, my second major was sociology, and we did some class. It was like a whole class. We did a research in generational labels with Andrew Linner, and that was a whole class structured around building our own research as like a whole class. So wasn't really one to one, but it was like still really close knit team of like classmates and a professor working on the same research that actually now was published as well, but that our part was very small from it.
And Suyi, tell us about the research that you had done as an undergraduate here, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about your research after Skidmore too, and that work. But how about your time at Skidmore?
Yeah, well, I two. I had two research experience at Skidmore. I start with when I entered the Skidmore, I'm not exactly sure what major what direction I want to go in. So I guess it's definitely really helpful for me because you have more exposures to faculties and you can discuss with them. So I kind of try out different things. I start with a research with chemistry department. I did it for a year. I do like it, but I felt like I'm starting to build up my interest in biology since I took more classes. So I switched to biology. I started doing a research with a biology professor at that time for about start with a summer research and then go in for the entire semester. I did 2 years, which it was a great experience. It was a small lab. It was only like me and another student. We were working in the lab, so we have a lot of opportunity to work directly with the professors. And yeah, I think it is a good opportunity. Like everyone should explore if you are interested in research.
Do you remember how you got to do research? Either of you. I mean, was it how you first came about it? Were you invited? Did you ask the professor? Do you remember what that was like when you were here as a student?
Yeah, well, it's just I walking by these labs every day and saw students like working in there, and I was wondering like how like it happened. So I reached out. Yes, I did reach out to a couple of faculty members. Well, I think it was very lucky since we don't the ratio was that so you have more chances to they have this more opportunity, more positions provided for the students, so you don't have to be very stressful that afraid of being refused. And it was very lucky, like many of them happy to accept students, and this how it happened. So yeah, I do know a lot of my classmates by that time also recommended by their upperclassmen. So it's also I think it's also quite possible if you talk with your other classmates or people from other class, and they will probably recommend you like what kind of the area that you are interested in. Yeah.
And so it sounds pretty easy. And I know that we give students great access to the research opportunities here at Skidmore. It is certainly one of the advantages of being an all undergraduate learning community. So every single laboratory, every single piece of equipment, all of the resources, all of the time with faculty are dedicated to the undergraduate student. And so you're not sharing that or competing with graduate students for that kind of opportunity, which is wonderful. Um, we have our next panelist joining us, Mario Hyman. Hopefully can hear us as he comes in, and would love to have Mario introduce himself to us. We'll see if we get him in here. Mario, can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you. Give me just
Oh,
1 second.
that's all right. We are happy to have you here, and we'll let you introduce yourself, and then I've got more questions for others to go on. I would love to. We talk about research, and one of the opportunities at Skidmore is research in the summertime. Who got to spend a summer in Saratoga Springs, New York, and got to see a little bit more? Yeah, you got some summer. Yep, I know some of that was COVID time. I know some of you were here longer than a summer, I think, at some times, but that opportunity presents itself up to 10 weeks of research experience that students can do, or an internship, a very long duration of time. Funded research allows students to live on campus for free. A stipend is often provided for research. Eating on campus is provided as part of the program, and so funded research experiences in the summertime can be presented to our students for this long duration. Something while we're waiting for Mario, that's okay. Something that Suyi mentioned, and I would love maybe Freeney or Yoser to contribute a little bit, thinking about if you didn't know exactly what you wanted to do when you came to Skidmore. When you arrived, and I know Freeney, you studied a few different subjects too. What was that opportunity to explore? What were some experiences you enjoyed about exploring different subjects that then then solidified what you eventually majored in? Maybe Freeney, you want to start and share some experiences like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I really didn't know what I wanted to do because I also took some neuroscience classes. I remember I did that first year, the summer of my first year, I did an excavation here in Greece at an archaeological site. So I was a little bit, I was trying to explore different things. And I think this is the big advantage of joining Skidmore and a small liberal arts college. You're not too restricted, especially in your first year, and I would say even up to your beginning of, so the first semester of the second year as well. And for me, I think it was the connection with some professors that I had. Darren, as you said, the classes are very manageable, something that you won't see in a big, sized university. You have the opportunity to connect with professors to really get their guidance and opinion and some good advice in terms of what the next step should be, even as you try to figure out what you want to do.
I can add a little bit on that as well. I think having grown up in Asia and having such a structured lifestyle with all the classes just built out for you, I think coming to Skidmore really gave me the opportunity to actually try, because being a liberal arts college, it forces you to try out different subjects during your first year. I remember coming to Skidmore just absolutely frightened, and all I knew was that I was good at numbers, and that was it. I took a chance and I tried to take as many courses and different things that I could possible. Eventually, I ended up on taking a lot of Asian studies classes. So the Asian Studies department, there's a professor called Professor Benjamin Bogan, very fluent in Tibetan, and I have some of Tibetan heritage as well. So I spent most of my life trying to figure out, the religion, how it connects to Buddhism, and connecting that to modern day in life. So being a numbers guy, I thought why not just get out of my comfort zone and just wanted to explore a lot of it. So I ended up I took it as just maybe a one term, maybe a course just for once. And in the end, I ended up sort of minoring in Asian studies as well. And I think this is particularly really important for new class coming in, because it's really important to just explore. Because by the end of it, we were having a class in our beautiful Tang Museum we had the whole show pieces of like different Tibetan architecture and Tibetan like different pieces of that's linked to like a lot of my heritage, and I could learn a lot about it from a professor who could speak Tibetan, has been to Tibet, has been to Bhutan. So I was learning a lot about my own country and my own culture from a professor than I would have learned in like my own country itself. So I thought like, that was one of the most memorable experiences in terms of like exploring outside of my comfort zone. I just really enjoyed that. Yeah.
Well, that is great, and really presents well too Skidmore's commitment to an interdisciplinary learning experience, right? Faculty who are pulling information from different communities, different scholarship fields. Teaching the Tang Teaching Museum and Art Gallery is a wonderful, wonderful example of the interdisciplinary approach to learning at Skidmore. But also introducing students to different subjects that you may not have considered studying or will catch your attention once you're here. And the breadth in our curriculum is certainly something that presents students that opportunity. Over half of our students double majoring, major minoring, having that experience. In your introductions, I didn't hear a single student say, "I just did one thing at Skidmore." It is quite. Students are interested in different disciplines as well. Mario, glad you're here. Let's tell us a little bit about, we'd love to hear you share what you studied here at Skidmore, a little bit about, just say hello in your introduction, and we'll go from there, and we'll catch Sten with another question after Mario introduces himself. Go ahead.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. Apologies again for being a little bit late. My name is Mario Hyman. I'm class of 2016. I'm from Kingston, Jamaica. And I went to high school all the way in Jamaica up until basically the junior year. Then I went to Kent School in Connecticut, did 2 years there, and then went to Skidmore for my undergrad. At Skidmore, I was a physics major, and then towards my junior year, picked up kind of dual minors, so minors in mathematics and computer science. Especially for physics track, you end up doing a lot of the core requirements for math or computer science for minors. So I went ahead and picked that up on my side as well. And then after Skidmore, I went to University of Memphis. I did my master's in electrical and computer engineering. And then now I'm at FedEx DataWorks in IT as a software engineer lead. So it's a little bit about me as overall, and open to any questions and happy to have feedback. Yeah.
Great, thank you, Mario. Maybe another question I would love to maybe even just move around a little bit. Talk about, and maybe Stan, you want to talk a little bit about while you were here at Skidmore, some of the any of the alumni connections you made with alumni that were interested in the field, that were working in the field you were interested in, and when did that start at your time at Skidmore?
In the end of junior year, I already got connected with the one alumni who I then ended up doing a whole internship for a year and a half. And we were building a data pipeline for private medical data, so people can do research without knowing whose data it is. And it was a really fun opportunity that definitely helped me to land the IT related DevOps job later on after like the college and at Skidmore. So alumni connection was really strong, and he connected me with other alumni who was his class year. I think Tamim is class of 2017, 2016. I'm not sure, but like we work together and still keep in touch a little bit.
And others, did you guys have, while you were at Skidmore, some of those similar stories like that? Any connections you had made when you were a current student with some of our alumni community? Anybody? Or in terms of, or connecting with our using your, let's go back to the advising relationship you might have had with your advisor, and that opportunity, some of the graduates that were before you, what was, some of those connections something that was part of your time at Skidmore, Frini? Yeah.
I think, yeah, so I did chat to Skidmore alumni, trying to understand like what are the opportunities, because I was going into the policy space, right? And I was more Europe oriented. So unfortunately, at the time, there wasn't anyone particularly in that geographical region, but I did connect with people that went, for example, in similar organizations, and they gave me some insight, some tips as to, best practices when interviewing, etc. But I actually did find a Skidmore alumni from, I think she's class 90 something, when I was with Chatham House. A dear colleague of mine that we became, best friends after because of our Skidmore connection, which was quite funny.
I kind of have oh, you can go ahead, Mario.
Okay, yeah, I'll share a little bit of my experience as well too. Kind of, I have more of informal connections that came about. I didn't mention I also played soccer and I did swimming during my time at Skidmore. So there were events that were catered specifically towards bringing the alumni back to campus for us, right? So we had alumni meets for swimming and alumni soccer games, usually during the off season for your particular sport. And for me, that was the first time I met many of the alumni team members that were there before. It was also a time to, for seniors that had graduated during my time there, it was a time to reconnect with them. So that was a great experience for me, just from the purpose of socialization. I wasn't looking to gain anything in particular from them. It was more just about reconnecting. And then also meeting some of the persons that you'll see people that their pictures are posted in the wall in the gym. So you got a chance to meet these people who they look like fables before, but now they're realistic, right? They're real people. They have real jobs. So it was good to connect with them. And then from the faculty perspective, especially as it relates to my advisor. So again, physics major. My advisor, when it came to the time of me graduating and figuring out what to do next after Skidmore, she actually leveraged her connections to tell me and give me examples of what people have done after physics degrees, right, in undergrad. They weren't all Skidmore connections, but it was just an example of just using her as a way to connect to someone else who'd been through this path, right? And figure out what are the other paths they've taken. Did they go to graduate school? Did they go and try to go into applied sciences from physics? So it was definitely a good bridge to move from what my advisor could provide me at Skidmore to what connections she had out in the real world, whether they're Skidmore or not. So a little bit more informal for me, but there was always a touch of the alumni connection for me. Yeah.
For me, it was a little different, I would say. So I primarily wanted to get into finance, and I was just like, I wasn't having any luck in terms of like how to get my foot in the door. So I went to Student Academic Services, so I was very close with our international counselor, Chloe, and I worked with Student Academic Services, and she suggested that I make an account on Skidmore Connect, which is our own alumni connections database, where you can make a profile and look for anybody who's in the industries who's like, might be in a field that you might be interested in. Eventually made an account and started looking for folks, alumni, anybody that I could get a hold of, because in finance, you usually need an internal connection within the company to even get your foot in the door for like an interview or anything there. So I ended up meeting someone from a different company, not my current company. He held a pretty, I would say, influential position in the company, probably a director or so at the time. And when I reached out to him, I sent him a message, wasn't expecting anything. Usually when you cold call people, you don't like expect anything back. But he responded within 24 hours. And we hopped on a call. We spoke for about an hour and a half or 2 hours. And, he really guided me towards not just like I'm thinking about the field, but also in terms of interview experience, on resume building, and as well as expanding my connections as well. Eventually, I ended up meeting him in the city as well for drinks. And he expanded my network. It was just really hard to I would say find people within finance because not a lot of people get into it from Skidmore, I would say. But now it's the pipeline has been growing, and I think a lot of people like alums want to see that pipeline grow as well. But I think the bottom line is that a lot of the alumni have been really helpful. They're really proactive, and they want a lot of kids coming into every field that they're working in.
And I feel like this is one of those survey questions. Do you strongly agree, moderately agree, or disagree with this statement that students who have a positive experience at Skidmore then become graduates of Skidmore who want to help the current students? Is that a strongly
I would say,
agree?
yeah, very strongly agree, I would say.
Good. Certainly an advantage to our, to our engaging, well-connected student body and faculty, but then that's who you become as a graduate of Skidmore, wanting to reach back and support. Su Yi, go ahead. I would love to hear from you.
I was going to say comment something about that as well. I also have a little bit different story. When I was an undergrad, I wasn't able, when I was a student, I wasn't able to make a lot of connection, partially because I was quite shy by then. I don't know how to, and it's a really stressful thing to do as an undergrad, as an international student who can't, not sure like if it's proper, if it's like, would they be bothered, like things like that. So by then my the department I went was quite small, and it's I don't know any other international students like upperclassmen and who do the similar major. So I just don't know how to connect. But after I graduate, I did met some Skidmore alumni who is not like either international students or not. We did talk a little bit. I'm kind of regret that I wasn't brave enough to reach out when I was a student. And I also, yes, after I graduated, I talked with these bio graduate alumni from a couple of years ago. I've already forgot when he graduated, but we met each other, and he helped me navigate about the graduate program by that time I was interested in. So it was definitely really helpful. I really hope we could have this kind of conversation earlier. And also a couple of years after I graduated, there was also students coming to reach out to me and ask about my experience. I was so happy about that because I think they are really brave to do that. And I'm so happy to share my own story as an international student. I do have some difficulties by them, but I'm assuming that maybe many other international students also have similar situations, but they don't know who to ask. So I would it's just a piece of advice, and I do think you as a students just don't afraid to ask anyone, because we also hope you to come to like reach out to us and to share our story that hopefully will help more international students to do better in their field. So yeah, it's just things I want to comment on that. Yeah.
Well, I think that's perfectly valid, and to think about the cross-cultural experiences that students may have, and this is a perfect example of of behavior that you learn in a different community, in a different culture, where it is okay to be more direct and reach out to people, but at other times in your life you may have thought that wasn't okay, and that is part of what makes our world an amazing place, and our campus community one that can be helpful to guide students in that way. Free, yeah, go ahead.
I also wanted to say that I think especially within Skidmore's international community, this sentiment of union and support is extra strong, because one of the things that I personally am very proud of is the International Student Union. So international students have a life outside of class and the classroom, and they connect and they build friendships basically, and the idea that we all share the experience of being away from home, and this adds a little bit to um, this idea of giving back to the community. I think it's quite powerful, and up to this day, the effect is still present, very much so.
I am glad you said that, and it's going to be a perfect segue to deeper conversation. But just wanting to introduce to students, we have incredible international student advising and international student support. Yoser referred to one of our international student advisors from before you arrive at Skidmore, and it even in conversations in the summer, but then when you come to Skidmore and attend international student orientation, some of these conversations begin there, but that advising and that support continues for the 4 years, and then those connections will continue after you graduate from Skidmore. But to have professional advisor support, but also peer-to-peer support through the ISU, through some of our other clubs on campus. This Skidmore College is a very club-driven, organization-driven social space for our students with over 100 clubs and organizations of many, many different interests. And those are mini networks within our Skidmore network. And that is great to introduce, because I would love for a couple of you to reflect on maybe thinking about your time at Skidmore and something you did, non-academic experience, that then has had an impact on your life now. Is there anything you can think back on that you did as something that was important to you at Skidmore that then has now had is helpful to you today, that might not just be your major, something outside of what you studied in books? Thing.
I could talk a little bit about it. So, I mean, in addition to like ISU, like Trini said, like obviously like that was a big part of my home as well, being at Skidmore. Another club that I was part of was Asian Culture Association. And I thought ACA were two of the biggest clubs that, because when you're coming in as an international student to America, there's a lot of intimidation that follows behind it, right? Because you're in a new country, a new society, and then you have to learn the culture. And sometimes you're not the most comfortable or confident with, let's say, like your English, because that's not your native tongue. And I'd say, like, eventually, like, I thought like these two clubs really built a community for me. It was easier to make friends and ease into Skidmore college life, because a lot of the folks, I would say the locals from America, they probably have similarities, like, the same town, same high school, could be like, but for us, we're like all different parts of the country, different parts of the world, and just how we sort of like connected. Eventually, after graduation, I sort of like wanted to pass on that sort of like community type of feeling and help out those from like different countries or also like maybe the same race. I work as a mentor as well on the side for Asian American Dream, which is actually an NGO started off by an alum from Skidmore, who is primarily helping a lot of minority folks from like America, but also he's starting a branch for a lot of the international graduates coming in from different parts of the world and different like studying in different parts of like America as well.
And Mario, I know you reflected a little bit on your time as a student athlete. You want to share a little bit more about maybe if that's been impactful on your continued life and maybe has led to some connections. You never know where those connections come from.
Sure. I'll speak more to some of those, even non-athletic experiences as well, too, or let's say partially athletic. So there's kind of three other kind of extracurricular activities that I participated in during my time at Skidmore. One of them was Soccer Without Borders, which is basically a camp. We used to have children of all ages come during the summers, and we would do all-day sessions training them, and running through some exercises, giving them an opportunity to break away and do something different for their summer, and actually get exposure to soccer and learning about what it is. And they would come from, I think the name as it speaks for itself, Without Borders, a lot of different communities, children, in some cases, children that have special needs, and that was a big played a big part for me as I progressed in two fronts. One, eventually I ended up, coaching on the side for children. So that was my first experience coaching kids playing soccer. It was helpful for me, and I was able to list that as experience, right? Having been in a camp with over 50 children of all different age groups and interests. And then secondly, when I did go to University of Memphis, I did an assistantship at what's known as the Mid-South Access Center for Technology. And we took a lot of time to train individuals who may have been nonverbal but high functioning, and teach them how to use assistive technology, other people with disabilities, low vision. So again, and Skidmore kind of got me my first experience, right? Dealing with people who may be coming from different backgrounds, different needs that I may not have had or have been exposed to in my environment at home. So for me, that was kind of the step to the door of, learning how to deal with different kinds of people in these environments. And then, leading it to be a great way for me to gain an assistantship for my graduate school, and excelling in that nature. Another one that was helpful was I did participate with Habitat for Humanity. I think we went down to Rochester. I don't know if you were there, Darren, or not, but it may have been through one of the programs as well. Yeah. So going down to Habitat for Humanity, just getting the chance to use your hands, build something that someone will benefit from with your practical skills was huge for me. And then again, that also became a factor for me at FedEx when I joined. We had outreach programs to go and help out at Habitat for Humanity. And again, I didn't know everything about these programs before. So before going to Skidmore, I know nothing about, or little to nothing about Habitat for Humanity. Then by the time I got to FedEx, I jumped at the chance. I said, yes, I know exactly what we're going to do, and I'd love to participate. I'll commit my day that I can go and help my team. Whilst I may not have been so open to it before, just because I wouldn't have known about it or known what it would have taken for me on that particular day. So those are kind of three experiences that really helped to form the future path for me based on what happened at Skidmore. Yeah.
I remember that trip, and I remember you were very excited to use your hands, use some tools as a budding engineer and somebody who wanted to get their hands in there to do some community service that had some real action to it. We present those opportunities for Skidmore students, and we've even done some projects like that right here on campus. We have in our North Woods the hundreds of acres of land adjacent to our campus that has a network of hiking and walking trails within it. We had students and staff working alongside to build the platform pathways that go across a bog meadow to allow hikers to walk across a muddy, boggy surface. But we had students using their skills to saw, to drill, to cut pieces and measure, and those are some great practical things to be able to be done, whether that's your very first time ever doing it or it's something that students have done it a lot. Would love, Frini, Suyi, to share even something more memorable about a Skidmore experiences that then you kind of see yourself see some glimmer of in your today's life. Anything you want to share? Suyi, I'll let you start, and then Frini, go ahead.
I think they already covered some of the clubs that I also attend. I did find a lot of people that I'm still keeping a good connection with, that as the cultural parts of it, and also I just want to see what should I say? I also besides that part, I did remember, because it's been a while, so I can't remember exactly the clubs, but I remember I attended sustainability and ecology club. I think it's about that. And we also, as you mentioned, I remember we also had that recreation tour and walk around the woods to see the plants and the small animals in the woods. It was an amazing experience, and it's kind of leading me towards to do some seminar courses about the ecologies of the Skidmore and the upper states areas. And I think it's quite fun for me and kind of leading me towards the biology. And I think that is one of the biggest experience I can recall that I really like. And there's also many other events that led by the clubs that even though I didn't join the club, but I still went to the events. Like there's many musical shows and theaters work that you can join as just drop in as a student. I feel like it is also a quite fun part of my undergrad experience. Yeah.
Rini, go ahead.
You will allow me to elaborate a little bit more
Keep going.
in
You
terms
go.
of so ISU, which is the International Student Union, because it's very much my child. I still up to this day feel like it is. And I invested a lot of, I think maybe 2.5 years I was part of the club and running activities. And it's others have already touched upon it, but it's really a space where you, first of all, you get to experience how life in the US is, and some people haven't experienced certain festivities or traditions, and they get a chance to do so. And especially when it comes to activities that are family oriented and maybe their family is far away, I think the ISU provided this space. Also, it gave people the opportunity to travel around the US. At the time, we had, a trip to Boston, to New York, and later to Washington as well. Hopefully, this is still the case. But I think maybe the greatest lesson that came out of that space was, and it really applies, it's something that up to date, it's just present in my professional life as well, how to deal with people that are different than yourself, and how to accept them and love them for what they are, and not try to just enforce your culture, uh, and just appreciate diversity when you see it. I think that's the biggest lesson.
And I'm hearing this a little bit even in your answers, but can each of you think of something, and maybe you've been asked this before, or could I have answered this before, of advice to your younger self? So here we are, students listening, or going to be future Skidmore students. As a first year Skidmore student, do you guys think of some advice that you would love have had somebody, or maybe they did give you that advice when you were a first year student? Think back on something you would advise to take advantage of the Skidmore experience, the time in the United States. Some things come to mind. We can each pop around for that, and um, whoever wants to go.
I'm very happy to go first. I think be brave and just feel confident in not being an A student, or not I'm not gonna say fail, because I don't think there is such thing as failure, but like not being perfect, because there is a growing space, especially the first year in a foreign country, in a different academic level. It comes with certain difficulties, and it's okay if you have an accent. Like I still have an accent after. It's never gonna go away, like it. And feel proud of that, because it's part of you. It doesn't mean that you need to become someone else. You can still be you, but sort of, develop as an individual. So yeah, that would be my advice, I think.
I'll follow up. Honestly, there's just so many answers to the question. I would tell myself so many things, but I'll follow the trend, right? I would say as well, bravery is a huge part. I would tell myself to be more brave, and earlier on, right? I think when I first came to Skidmore, you're faced with, it's a lot of newness, right? Your first college experience. I think maybe Skidmore may have been the only college that I visited prior to actually going. And so again, first being in an environment, tending to a new country, new people, and you kind of get, I would say, you have hesitancy to embrace new things, and branch out into new environments. But I would say by the time I got to maybe a junior year, sophomore year, I really started to embrace and be brave. I think I ended up taking a class called modern dance, which again, I would have never pictured myself taking modern dance, even though I would dance if you went out to a social event, right? And I'm sure that as a freshman, I'd look back and say, why would I do that, right? But then by the time I got to junior and senior year, I was happy to do it and learn more about different performance arts, that as you grow into adulthood, you have to learn how to appreciate things that aren't from your core grain of existence, right? You may not have had that in your life growing up, but you're in a place that performance arts, dance, music, these are things that are embedded in society, and you have to grow to appreciate some of them. So I would definitely say be more brave, take those chances early, take that one extra class that you may not have thought about before, or it looks interesting based on the title, and it gives you the story to tell, right? Besides just focusing on your main path to get your degree, think about the stops along the way, the people you'll meet, and be brave to do new things that break that trend. Yeah.
I could follow up a little bit more on that too. I think like sometimes what we forget coming to Skidmore is that our college is has a beautiful facility like Zenkel and Tang. And I wish like I could tell my younger self to like take advantage of that. Like, there's a lot of shows that happen. There's a lot of student-led theater shows. It could be a lot of different pieces or different artists coming into Tang and showcasing their art pieces. And those were something I would say that's very unique to Skidmore. Not a lot of colleges have this kind of like facility at this size. And we have a lot of student-led activities going on. And I just wish like I could tell my younger self to like take advantage of that, go to more shows, go and see all those theater pieces, go and see all those like, go to Tang Museum, take some time off from the academic experience and just, to yourself, just like look at the art and just like, forget about everything else and just be in the space.
Yeah, I'll add it, and it may have been for free, right? At Skidmore, right? You'll have to pay for it
Yeah,
later. So you might as well enjoy
everything was
it.
free for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, I think I already kind of mentioned, but I just want to re-emphasize again, just don't be afraid of reaching out to people. I think it's a great advantage of Skidmore that we have such a nice students to faculty, students to students, students to alumni ratios that it would be really hard and difficult for many students from different cultures to ask for help from people who are from different cultures. And but just don't be too stressful about this situation because people are expecting you to come. And after you go into a bigger university, like for example, if you go into a bigger university after graduate, or if you go into the workplace, it would be never had this kind of chance that they always open the door for you. They always have time to make out for you. So I still remember how hesitated I was when I was always have to find the professor. I'm lingering around on the hallway and for half an hour not have the courage to knock the door, but it's totally not necessary. The professors, faculties, members here are so nice and so helpful, so supportive. I still keep very close connection with my advisor by then. We still talk with each other very frequently. Every time when I have to make big decisions about my career or lifetime decisions, I still reach out to them. I managed to maintain this good relationship, but if I not have enough courage to knock the door, it will never happen. And I'm really grateful for these kind of experience that have helped me to develop, to explore, to navigate my pathways, which I think is very, very important. So sometimes, like just as everyone said, that you need a little bit of courage, but don't to put too much mental pressures on that. It is not as scary as you thought. Once you step off the first step, then everything will seems very easy, I promise. And another thing, I think many international students may not as confident because they are exposed to such a big different culture than the past, but just always remember to be proud of yourself. I think that is very, very, very important as your life goes through, because you already here, you already did so much to be here. You should always remember that projects. I think everyone should be proud of their themselves to make that step, and just don't forget that you are amazing. Yeah.
You are amazing. We thank you all very, very much. Those are some wonderful closing words from our alumni to share with our future Skidmore students. And through this conversation, we hear that the passion for Skidmore is very much with our graduates. The connections that were built at Skidmore are very much with our graduates. This network is an open one. People will open the door for you and they will hold that door open. And we really appreciate hearing your advice and your words. Thank you for those who are watching with this, spending this time this morning, this afternoon, this evening, wherever in the world this finds you. We thank you, and we look forward to keeping in touch and sharing more with you about Skidmore College. So thank you to Freeney and Yoser and Suyi and Mario and Sten for taking time out of your busy lives, and we appreciate it. So thank you all very much. We appreciate it, and
Thank you very
you.
much.
Thanks, Darren. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye.